How's it going, folks? Once again, I'm Neff from Neff's Tech Bits, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. Now, on the internet, we've been following this Epstein thing for a long time. The Jeffrey Epstein pedophile island, Lolita Express. Man, it bothers me to my freaking core. It distracts me. It has for a long time. And what's really distracted me is the fact that very few people know much of the story at all. It really bothers me how few people are aware of how many people are involved and how things basically get shoved under the rug, swept under the rug. Now, this particularly bothers me because I see bad actors who have a lot of money behaving badly that are experiencing a different level of equality than the rest of us. It really bothers me. Like 13 Angry Men, or is it 12 Angry Men? 12 Angry Men. The more money you have, the better kind of law system that you will have around you. The movie or book, And Justice for All, is another great example. If you have a certain amount of money, then you get away with things. And we see this all over the place, especially if we look at Trump's big, beautiful bill that lowers the tax credit amount so that if you're doing so good, you'll just do even better. And the whole thing comes from the idea of Reaganomics. I'm pretty sure it was Reaganomics, trickle down theory. But things don't really end up trickling down. And when these leaders put forward these tax breaks, money doesn't actually go to the people at the bottom. It goes to stock buybacks and stupid things like that. But hey, that's the way it goes. Rudy back here, he knows the way it goes, and it always goes the way of the rich, basically. The people who are running the show are friends with the people with the money. And when they're done running the show, they need to be good with the people who have the money. Networking is how we get to be where we are. And I'm putting all of this together because it is all very relevant. It really bothers me that Donald Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein. So let's talk about how he knew Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't like Trump at all, but after looking into it a little bit, I get the feeling that Epstein was with Trump. They were partying for a while. They were going after younger girls. When I say younger, I mean age of consent. One thing that disgusts me, a lot of people don't know, is the age of consent in a lot of places is actually 16 years old. So, yeah, anyways, let's just move past that. So, Trump stopped hanging out with Epstein when Epstein and Trump there was a thing about a mansion. They were outbidding each other, but also Trump told someone who ran the Mar-a-Lago that Epstein was not allowed to come back because while he was there, or while he was with Trump in a particular place, he offered a job for a massage from one of the younger women. And what I'm getting from that is ultimately that Trump figured out. My heart tells me Trump found out how far this guy would go. And then he was like, no, no, none of that. None, we're not having any of that, basically. So that's where I think that goes. Now, I have a super, super dark imagination. I was naive at one point. I walked into Project Chanology not knowing the level of degenerates that I was going to be around. Like, I knew there were going to be degenerates. I just thought they were going to be a lot like me, and it wasn't until the Ides of March that we found out that things were not quite like that, and that old fag, who became part of the 764 later on, they just don't have part of their brains. There's just something's wrong in here. Something's really wrong in here. So when I joined up, I learned about things like Pedo Bear and Lolly and Lolita, and so Jeffrey Epstein had the plane called the Lolita Express. And unless you were well versed in that kind of stuff, the younger stuff, sorry, So this is dark, it's sickening, but it's meaningful because of the stuff we're dealing with, so I'm going on. Everyone who was in the knew what Lolita meant. If you were part of that scene, you knew what it meant, or if you were really good with classic literature, you knew what it meant. Because ultimately, Lolita was a book about a man who fell for a woman and then fell for his daughter, ultimately, and pursued a relationship with her, and the whole thing just really creeps me out. And unfortunately, since Jeffrey Epstein was, this is dark, he was a philanthropist in certain ways. And philanthropists, just like bad people with tax money, will do a lot of things to make bad things look good. And Jeffrey Epstein would give money to a lot of things and kind of expect a little bit back. And sorry, this really bothers me. This really bothers me. Um, this makes me want to puke. But anyways, to show you how messed up things got, and why the Epstein list is hard to release. They had so many people going all over the place on the Lolita Express. So many people, like this guy, Hawkins, Stephen freaking Hawkins, was, I'm not sure if he ever got onto the Lolita Express or if he ever went to Pedophile Island, which was given to Epstein by Victoria's Secret. But he could basically say he was washing his list ultimately by communicating with people who legitimately had interest in furthering the world and furthering the people and the things within the world onto positive ways. I really don't think Stephen Hawking was a pedo. I don't think so. I don't think that. But if there's one thing I've learned that we're not allowed to talk about, and I'm not attributing this to Hawkins, if there's one thing I know that we're not allowed to talk about, is that there is, from everything that I've seen, there is a disproportionate amount of men who have a fetish for underage girls. And Jake the Snake Roberts said something that really kind of stuck with me, that once it's like a drug. Sexy time is like a drug. You're chasing it, you're chasing it, you're chasing it, and then you want that high. So it's not. Sorry, this is yucky. But basically, if you have standard sexy time, it kind of wears off. Then you need someone watching, and then it'll get an extra thrill. And then maybe you need some people joining in, and then you need to change things up to keep the excitement up. And it seems that when I had a guy tell me about this at work, actually, that once you've had so much experience with everything, you need to find something more edgy to get into. Oh, sorry, my daughter painted my nails. You need to get something into something more edgy in order to hit that high. And a lot of people, one of the first things they go to is the younger and the younger. Now, this part bothers me quite a bit, but there is a market for the underage. Being, let's say, 16 and up. And I just learned about this in freaking passing from hearing other people tell stories about things that they knew. I knew, I heard of this guy that was friend of a friend, let's say, that was talking. This was a long ass time ago in Toronto. That there was a time in this building, if you wanted the sexy time with the regular, like the Hooker Harveys, right? And then I asked too many questions. Hooker Harveys, and you go into that place at that room, you could get this. If you go into that room at this time, you could get that. And if you go into that room at that time, you could get something else. Now this is long after the fact. This stuff's busted. It's done. But what I learned about that is, for a long time, there's a market for it. All right, there, blam, that's it. There's a market for it. There's a market for it. Now, The further up the chain you get when it comes to money, the more decadent things get. Now, this isn't conspiracy theory. This is dark shit that is absolutely true. Now, we get a lot of people that are saying that we shouldn't talk about this dark shit because, I don't know, if we do, maybe we're a part of it or we're letting it in some way or another. Bitch, when did that's like saying that educating about safe sex is going to make everyone go and have it, which is a very stupid, fundamental, ultra orthodox idea that is just so freaking stupid. It is so freaking stupid. I'm the type of person more that would definitely stare directly into the void just to understand the darknesses within it. And if it wants to stare into me and haunt me, fair enough. But if it means that I can see that darkness and understand it, if it gets anywhere near a playground, I will stare into that void all damn day because I feel like it's my personal responsibility as an adult to know, to see, to understand. Now, I've been scarred by these types of people before in the past. I've, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that there wasn't law enforcement quickly enough for this stuff. If you learn about the 764 and Old Fag, who became the 764, you will find that the police weren't ready for it. Operation Sundog, Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986. There was a time when cops just had no idea what to do with stuff that happened online. You look up the CBC documentary of the 764, look it up, look it up. You are going to see a police officer saying, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know what's going on here. I can't do it. We're better now. We weren't so good then. I've heard from people within the hacker groups saying that cops know how to smash stuff more than they know how to fix stuff. The people that I date and love within shelters and social workers, I refuse to date or be with anyone who is not top shelf, good heart, loves children. I got kids, right? I refuse to be with anyone who's not top shelf and great with kids because of things that I've had to deal with before. But anyways, what they're going to tell you is police don't like dealing with domestics. Domestic disturbances, they don't like anything to do with them. Oh, and if there's a domestic disturbance and someone has a gun there, oh, it's something else altogether. But anyways, getting back to, there's a great story that a hacker once told me that he was standing in an office building, and for some reason, someone had brought a bunch of computer stuff on a trolley of some sort that they had hooked up into a sewer main. They were hooked up into something, and they watched as the police came to this. I've always wanted to get more information about this because it sounds like it was in a time before wireless was a thing. And when they seen what was going on, instead of disconnecting this stuff, instead of disconnecting, and then keeping it so that techs could see what was going on, they smashed the crap out of it. They smashed everything. They smashed everything. Everything. I'm pretty sure that if you're going to look into this Jeffrey Epstein thing, we're going to find out that there was a lot of people that knew that tried to do something, but they were ended up getting deflected because of the powerful people that were involved in this stuff. And that happens. We should know by now that that kind of stuff happens. The powerful people get protected, and it's disgusting. We need to do something about this. We need to have the police, we need to have the feds, we need to have whoever come in and do stuff. But the thing is, when you're at the top, things change. Things change. And then we get kind of so high up there and how things actually work at the top, and we can't even see. We can't even see. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it sounds to me like there's a disproportional amount of money being made by people fruit running or front running. Nancy Pelosi, the House of Representatives, like people at the top lawmakers don't have to talk about the things that they invest in, for example. And Nancy Pelosi is always ahead of the curb when it comes to stocks, bonds, and stuff like that. She knows when stuff is going to come in, laws are going to come in that are going to screw markets up. And you'll notice that these lawmakers are front running or fruit running, as Rudy says. We know this stuff happens. This isn't conspiracy theory. We know that, like, for example, Hillary Clinton got away with having classified emails on her home server, which was away from the. She shouldn't have had it there. She wasn't supposed to have that server there. It wasn't supposed to have classified information there. But because she was who she was, she got away with it. There's a disproportionate amount of people that have gripe with Hillary Clinton that end up committing suicide. The girl that blew the lid off the Jeffrey Epstein case by going after one of the princes, I want to say Prince Rupert, but I'm always wrong with that. I forget what prince it is. And she had a picture of him, said flat out, "I'm not suicidal." And then she offed herself. Like, what's going on there? Like, it is possible for people of power to make your life so difficult that you will want to do it, because suicide is just legitimate. Like, I know a lot about this one. This is a dragon I've chased before. It's just when your life is so difficult that you don't have enough things to make your life feel better, then that's when suicide comes in. Now, these are all very dark things. They're also very meaningful things. Now, is this something we should get to the bottom of, or should we just forget about it because it's too difficult? Well, do we love our children? Do we care about our children? Do we care about what our leaders do with these children? Was it Alexander? Was it Alexander the Great who lost his wife and he found a boy that looked a lot like her and ended up dressing him up like that? Guys, people are fucked up. People are legitimately fucked up. That's why we need to have all kinds of laws against this, that, and the other thing. But at the same time, the problem with the Epstein list is there are too many people on it, like Stephen Hawking, who legitimately, like, I don't even think Buddy could get his junk up. I definitely don't think he was into kids. But what's really weird is that nobody wants this list to come out anymore. What's really weird is that the video that was released had a minute missing in it, and if you looked at the information on it, like if a video editing hacker looked at that information, at that video, they could see the user that edited it. You can even get into the user. I took a look at the user, and the original name of the project file is, there's stuff going on there. There's stuff going on. You don't think things aren't going on? Like, so much of the CIA stuff has gotten out there. We know about the Contras, right? Ollie North, Oliver North, the Contras, the CIA. The fact that the CIA can get away with selling blow just because it's not like part of what they're dealing with, it's like, wow. And like, you get this stuff happening in like small town neighborhoods too. I knew a guy that was like, yeah, he's my friend, and basically we don't call the cops on each other for anything. And I got the impression that this guy could move a body. If he wanted to. And like, I wonder, do these people have any souls? Are they worried about what they're going to have to answer to their creator for on the day of their judgments? I don't know. But it haunts me. The things I've had to deal with personally haunts me. And the fact that if I talk about it as the average individual, especially in a small town, their head just kind of implodes and goes to a dark place, and then they have a difficult time talking to me after that. But here's the thing, I legitimately don't think that people like looking at reality as long as they have enough money to keep themselves happy from day to day. But I think we need to come to the end of this and look into it. I think we owe it to our children. We owe it to the future. I don't know why Trump is so hard against releasing this information when they have it and they put so much time into using it as a way to get themselves in. There is something in there. There is information within those files, I believe, that would destabilize the entire country. They would destabilize everything, and maybe even in an international way destabilize. Now I'm going to talk about what I fear, not what I know, what I fear. Now this really I don't want to believe this, but there have been times I don't want to believe this. This is my imagination, okay? What I can tell you for a fact is there were skull cults once upon a time. There was a time when there were some really strong people, if I'm remembering this right, from the steeps, the same place that Genghis Khan came from. And they went down off the mountain and found people who were harvesters and fishermen and stuff like that. And they would kill all the men, children, and all that. And just take the women, sometimes even take the women, bring them back to base, and yeah, it was dark. It was dark, but this is like a long ass time ago, right? A long ass time ago. If you want to look this up, you have to look up a time when there was a sharp decline in there was a really sharp decline in 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 humans, in human DNA basically. This is a European thing. They found these settlements that were just full of bodies, and no one knows what happened. Maybe someone came after them and ended them. Now this is going super dark once again, and I'm just throwing ideas around here now. I'm throwing ideas around here now. I'll never forget this video of a woman saying they're eating people up there. She was a model of some sort, and she was at a this is pure conspiracy theory now. Pure conspiracy theory. I don't believe this. This haunts me. She said they're eating people up there. I think this was in Brazil, somewhere in South America. She comes out of the party and she's in the parking lot screaming, "They're eating people up there." And she freaking disappears. She just disappears. Now, if you go to parties full of rich people, like now we can start talking about this stuff because we know Epstein, Weinstein, P Diddy, especially P Diddy, those freak off parties. Those freak off parties got to be something else. Something else. And we know, like the Romans, the Spartans, well, they had their own parties and they got pretty off the shelf. And back then, they didn't have so much drugs. They didn't have all this, that, or the other thing. They had a lot of crazy orgies, a lot of crazy sexy time. But within that possibility is the possibility of some darkness, some true darkness, some darkness I can't even. Like the 764, for example, are messed up internet people who have managed to find a safe place to be as bad as they want to be, basically. Now I'm wondering what happens if you get the elite, who are a lot of them are super intelligent, super hardworking types of people that will never stop trying to invest, never stop trying to make more money. The type of people that when they go home, they're not just chilling out and watching TV. They're still investing. They're trying to figure stuff out. It is possible that when these individuals having their own freak off parties are something that we can't even comprehend. We can't even comprehend. Like, I can't even comprehend the average cool girl in the city in an after hours club. I can't even. I can't even. Like, legitimately. And we can't even talk about the fact that after hours clubs are super rapey. If you're in an after hours clubs, odds are you're going to get raped. Don't like talking about it. It's dark. Don't like talking about it. It's also very true. It's also very true. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. But those are kind of thoughts and chaos. We got to find out who was on that list. Or maybe we need to let Miss Maxwell go because no one was actually getting hurt, apparently. What I'm saying is there's something there. There's something there. So when it comes to the universe, we can tell there either is a planet X or that dark matter is a thing. Because if we take our calculations and try to figure out why certain things move in certain ways, there's no way that these things should be moving in this way or that way unless there is matter there that unless there is matter there kicking off non-Euclidean geometry in order to make gravity work in the way that it does. There are things out there in the universe pulling things back and forth that we can't explain. So we say it's dark matter, or we say it's Planet X. Planet X is that last planet that we can't see. People theorize it's there because things work this way or that way. But with math, we could tell that black holes existed before we knew they existed. Now, if we look at all of this information, the fact that there is an Epstein list, and maybe the reason that they don't want to bring it together is they got a lot of good people on it that are there for non-rapey reasons. But we need to look into this. We need to look into this. This is some chaos that we need dealt with. Because if we don't, what's going to happen to our kids? Oh, I don't know. But I think it's important. I think it's meaningful. I think we should look into it. And I'm troubled that Trump doesn't want to do anything with it. Why would it destabilize everything so badly? What are we getting into? Anyways, this is it for me. Thoughts and chaos. Net from Nets Tech Bits. Take care of each other, please. And have a good one, folks.